There they are then, 34 of them, some of the best drivers in the world here for the Rotax Max Euro Challenge 2014. It's round one of the championship, 4 rounds this season. Here at Salisbury, we go to Castelletto in Italy at the end of May, Wackersdorf in Germany in July, and in September the final round will be at Genk in Belgium. There's a long way to go. But I suppose at the end of this weekend, we're going to be a quarter of the way through the championship. So they all count. They're all important. And there is the full grid for you on screen. Piers Lehane is on pole position. John Stewart alongside. So Australian and British drivers from Turkey. Fantastic performance so far this weekend from Berke Besler. He'll start third. Ed Brand fourth. Sam Marsh. And then the Irish driver Shane Daly. Jane Dejar, front runner in the junior championship a couple of years ago. The Austrian Tommy Preining. Farley and Renadan, and then Grice and van der Laan start on the next row, on the 6th row of the grid. Tom Grice from 11th, Mauricio van der Laan from 12th, Ante Johansson and Dennis Mavlinov are on row 7. On row 8, Luke Wilhelms and Victor Oberg, 4th in the championship last year, the Swedish driver. He had to come after a terrible day yesterday, though, via the back door because he was not automatically qualified for the finals. He had to go through the second chance heat this morning. He got in the top 6. He started at the back of the grid for the pre-final and made his way up to 16th. So he is one that could come forwards here. On row 9, another one that could come forwards and equally had to come via the second chance. He is the American Oliver Askew, who for the last 2 seasons has finished in the top 6 in the grand finals, the World Championships 2 years ago, finishing on the podium. Carlos Gil, Spanish champion, is next up. On row 10, we've got Glenn Van Paris and Leonard Hugenboom. On row 11, Jake Craig, another American driver, and Mike Bartels. Row 12, Harry Webb, the British champion, the European champion as well, junior champion 2 years ago, senior champion of last year, and he was 6th on the grid for the pre-final, but was one of several drivers to get tangled up in an incident at the start of the race. So the reigning champion back in 23rd spot. Now a real reversal for the 2 teammates, because Ed Brand, his teammate, started towards the back for the pre-final and went the other way. Petra Betzel alongside. Row 13, Nicola Pico and Martin Mortensen. 14 is Michael Cool and Louis Ferdinand Simonauer. 15, Rinus van Kalmthout and Brett Ward. Those 4 drivers should come through. Maldonado, De Puch, and then Timmermans and Blom, 2 more quick drivers at the back of the field. So it's quick at the front, Matt. There's some quick drivers to watch coming through from the very back of the field. And it's over to you for the start of the race.
Thanks, Chris. Will they all make it safely through turn 1? We're about to find out. The lights go out down towards turn 1. Piers Lehane already across the track to try and defend as hard as possible there. They head their way through. John Stewart's been eked wide there, and Ed Brand, 3rd in last year's championship, gets through as always. It's drama at the back, and also one from inside the top 5 has gone off at turn number 2. So there's lots playing out already in this one as down the back straight goes Piers Lehane for the first time of asking. Ed Brand already up there in 2nd place, and John Stewart has dropped down into 3rd. So on that outside run through turn 1, it's always going to put you slightly off kilter. So that's what's happened to him. Looks like Sam Marsh has had a good start, up from 5th on the grid, now into 4th place. And those top 4 have already broken away from the rest of the pack. So great job there. The few we lost in the first few corners, I think one was Dennis Mavlinov, and the other one as well, Ante Johansson, both from row number 7. So they've disappeared.
And Petra Betzel also got stuck in the gravel at turn 2, and about 5 others got delayed.
And in fact, Sam Marsh has not come through. It's not that man in 4th place. So it's someone else doing the job up there. It's Jai Najjar, in fact, in 4th place. And Sam Marsh is another who's gone right to the back from the 3rd row of the grid. So it's all shaken out up front with Piers Lehane leading the way ahead of the man in 2nd, which is going to be Berke Besler. So another good start for Berke Besler. 3rd place then across the line is going to be the cart of John Stewart from the front row of the grid. And it's all changing for 2nd place as well as Jai Najjar comes into the mix, still in 4th place. There's lots going on down there as Berke Besler tries to defend his place in 2nd. Down the back straight they go for the 2nd time, and this one is going to see John Stewart trying to make a move to the inside line at turn 5, and there he goes through. Great move indeed. Berke Besler now knocked down to 3rd place, and all of this is allowing the man out front, Piers Lehane, to just build a gap now.
Yeah, good start for him. Troubled start for 1 or 2 others further down the pack. It's such a tight squeeze, though, isn't it, into turn 2? Almost is inevitable when they're all going for it. The yellow flags waved at various points around the circuit. So they'll have to be careful, no overtaking when they're going into the yellow flag zones. No overtaking required, though, for Piers Lehane. He's got this comfortable advantage as it stands. 2nd place, though, is another affair altogether, isn't it? Those 3 tied together as they come through. Besler doing an excellent job, though, but He's third at the moment, and he's squeezed in between two very quick drivers. Second, third and fourth go through turn number 2. No change there of position as it stands, but the 4 of them really are well clear of everybody else. Ed Brand was on the outside through turn 1, so he struggled to hold position. He's dropped back into that second group of 3 who are battling over 5th place, 5th, 6th and 7th. So Piers Lehane leading the way at the moment. John Stewart, Berke Besler and Jay Najjar are tied together. Grice is 5th, Brand is 6th right behind him. And looking a little bit further down, Nicola Pico is one that's made up loads of time. He's up to 11th place already from a fairly low grid position.
And Tom Grice, is good to see him up there in 5th place, of course, towards the end of the pre-final. He just dropped back. He was right inside the top 5. So let's see if he can hold on to the kart this time round and hold the position he needs as well. So Tom Grice is 5th. 6th place behind is now not Ed Brand. There's been a change there. There's someone through the trap, and there's 2 off, in fact, down the chicane. So it's all drama again on this lap. Tom Grice is 5th. Ed Brand has dropped down to 7th place because the man coming through now is going to just slightly change in the order there. So it's all going to help itself out down at turn 2. Ed Brand again fights back to get back into what's going to be 6th place in this race, and we've got a few others inside the top 10. We've got Adrian Renadan by the looks of it in there doing a good job. 10th place is where he started, up now there in about 8th or 9th place, so good job from him. Change for 3rd as well. Jai Najjar now gets the job done. Berke Besler being demoted back another place. He's down in 4th, and let's see what the man in 2nd, John Stewart, can do about Piers Lehane. Kept him very honest in the pre-final. Let's see if he can close that gap as the laps go on. Still under 13 to go, so plenty of racing still from the seniors to come.
A bit further back, Martin Mortensen's made up quite a few places. The Dane up to 13th now, 10th in last year's championship, 4th the year before. Piers Lehane starting to lose some of this advantage now, though. The gap is being bridged. The gap is being reduced. John Stewart is closing in now, homing in bit by bit, just edging away from that 3rd place battle with Jay Najjar. 3rd at the moment, but it's tight, isn't it, between him and Berke Besler. They continue to fight on. We've got Tom Grice edging away from Ed Brand now, 5th and 6th. But this is certainly a real step up compared to Spain for the team, for CRG, for Ed Brand. Terrible start to the weekend, but it's going right now for him. He is currently running in 6th place. No real changes further back down inside the top 10. So it's all about keeping an eye on that trio of karts, 2nd, 3rd and 4th now. If they start fighting each other, they will delay their own lap times. They will let Piers Lehane get away from them again. As they go through the 2nd intermediate, the lap divided up into 3 split times. And I see that there's still no change. Najjar still hanging on to 3rd place. About half a kart length clear of Besler in 4th position. Grice looking more and more comfortable then in 6th place. Got Glenn Van Paris having a really good drive here as well. Just behind Ed Brand running in 7th place. Renadan 8th, Preining and Pico 9th and 10th. So a couple of French drivers in the top 10 in their home race. Through the right-hander at turn 2, into the left at turn 3. Piers Lehane has only now got about 1.5 to 2 kart lengths advantage. The gap at the line at the start of the lap, Matt, was exactly half a second, and it's coming down all the time.
It sure is. Nothing to separate these top 4 at the minute, and it's Strawberry Racing who have a 1, 2, 3 in this race. Piers Lehane ahead of John Stewart and Jai Najjar, and it's Jai that's looking the busiest at the minute to try and get his way through. Berke Besler for the Bouvon Power team, not doing a bad job at all, sitting just on the tail of the top 3 there. 4th place at the minute for him as he turns his way through the right-hander at turn number 8. Then behind that we've got Tom Grice still trying to hold off the attentions of Ed Brand, who just dropped back slightly there. Glenn Van Paris is 7th, 8th place for Adrian Renadan in the blue machine, and then the rest of the top 10 coming through this time to complete another lap. But it is still at the head where we see the biggest fight so far. The gap this time is about to be confirmed on the screen as only 0.4 of a second. So again, it came down, and Jai Najjar, in fact, has got up to 2nd place. So through on John Stewart, he's now gone. He's going to be the next man to attack here. Can he get the job done past his teammate, that of Piers Lehane? He'll try his best here. The gap has got to come down before he can try anything at turn 5, because he's not quite close enough as they head onto the back straight once again. And look at Berke Besler, another good run through turn 4, leads him onto the tail of the man in front now, which is John Stewart.
Yep, so Najjar making up the place there. Through your shots go that lead quartet now, sweeping their way through the left-hander at turn 6. They're already down at turn 7. There they go. There's the second group of karts. There's Grice, then Brand, then Van Paris. Tommy Preining, I think he's homing in on them in that group. He's in 8th place. Adrian Renadan 9th. Still 10th is Martin Enkel Mortensen. Through the left at turn number 10 and into the final turn at 11 goes our race leader, Piers Lehane. He absorbed a lot of pressure. It was almost like this at the Winter Cup, actually. He went off like a train at the start of the race. He got caught, but then he was able to dig in and defend his position. John Stewart wants the second place, back into turn 2, though, and he's done it successfully, back ahead of Jay Najjar. So the yellowy helmet, that is Stewart back to where he started, back to second place, Najjar third, and watching it all go on just ahead is Berke Besler with a real chance of a podium here, the Turkish driver. They're certainly well clear of Tom Grice. Grice in turn is pulling away from Brand, 5th and 6th. Van Parijs, I think, still just behind them in 7th. The all-blue colour scheme of Adrien Renaudin, the French driver carrying the local hopes here, trying to make up some more positions, and he's not too far away from doing that now. He's also almost got himself onto the back of Tommy Preining in that battle for 8th position. So the race leader making his way into turn 10 once again. No change in terms of the gap from 1st to 2nd, but we have now got Stewart back into P2.
And Tommy, in fact, has just gone past there, Glenn Van Parijs. So the Strawberry Racing man is down. Tommy Preining up one more place this time. And now he's going to try and catch up with Ed Brand, who's down the road from him. It's going to be Ed Brand and Tom Grice who need to work together to catch the top 4 and move from Berke Besler down at turn 2. He gets to the inside line now and finds himself up one more position. So a great job there to get his way past Jai Najjar. So he finds himself on the podium. Great job there from Berke. And these 4 separated still by less than a second. So some great stuff going on, and it looks like as well John Stewart is again catching the rear of Pierce Lahane's car. So 1st and 2nd not too far apart, then 3rd and 4th are together as well, and then that fight for 5th place goes through the picture with Tom Grice, Ed Brand, Tommy Preining, Glenn Van Parijs and Adrien Renaudin, the all blue cart now at the back of it. They're your top 9. A massive gap then back to Martin Mortensen, who leads the next train down in 10th place, and we'll see what he can do to muster up about holding the rest of the pack up. But it's not going to be good enough for him to get any higher in the race by the looks of it, and at the line this time it's going to be 7 to go for Pierce Lahane. Through turn 11 he heads, still on his tail is going to be 2nd place for John Stewart. The gap again not much more than half a second. 3rd still for Berke Besler, and Jai Najjar there in 4th place. Can the change come for the lead? Not quite this time. He thought about it, didn't he, John Stewart?
You're right, he carried a lot of speed through turn 1. He homed in, looked like he was going to go for the out-braking manoeuvre, but he thought better of it in the end. So Pierce Lahane continues to lead them down this back straight from John Stewart. They're just edging away from 3rd and 4th now. Still Besler there in 3rd place. The final spot on the podium, Jay Najjar 4th. So 3 places on the podium, 4 of them battling for it at the moment. Tom Grice, he's trying to catch them. I think he's as quick as them actually, Tom Grice, but he's not taking too much in terms of meterage out of their advantage. And Ed Brand has sort of picked up the pace as well now, I think, looking pretty strong in 6th because you've got Tommy Preining coming after him. Tommy, the TKP driver on the Intrepid chassis this year, moving up to the seniors. He's looking quick. He started 8th. He lost some places in the first lap, but Tommy Preining starting to push Ed Brand now as they go through. 7 laps then still on the clock. Here comes John Stewart again, closing up into turn 2. Picks up a bit of a toe down there as well. But again, Pierce Lahane is good enough on the brakes. His line is perfect, and there is no opportunity. So he's keeping really cool here and soaking up the pressure.
Yeah, and then there you go, Tommy Preining and Ed Brand having a good scrap at the minute for 6th and 7th place. So watch out for those two off the back straight down at turn number 5. Tommy really going well in this final. He was unlucky yesterday to have a few penalties added to his times through the heats, but he's putting that right today and trying to have some great racing out on track. We know he can win. Of course, he was champion from last year in the juniors. So now Tommy Preining up against the man who finished 3rd in this championship last year, Ed Brand, for 6th and 7th places. Meantime, back at the front, 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and now not too far adrift is Tom Grice in 5th place. He's coming down and down, so before too much longer it may well be a 5-way fight for the lead. We'll have to wait and see if the gaps do shrink this time across, with Pierce Lahane still in charge. John Stewart there in 2nd. Again, he thinks about a move down towards turn 2, but can't quite get close enough. He glues himself to the rear bumper, and then of course Berke Besler is there or thereabouts to try and pick up any pieces he can, and 4th place still for Jai Najjar. But definitely the gap has come down between 1st and 5th. It was 2.1 seconds last time. Not much, I have to say, but it does come down to around about 2 seconds. So Tom Grice on the charge, trying his best to get there before this race runs out of time, with now just under 5 laps to go. There go the top 4 through the left-hander at turn 6, and I don't think Pierce Lahane is going to be beaten just yet. He's won every single race he's taken part in so far, and this one is looking good, although the pressure is still right there from John Stewart, Berke Besler and Jai Najjar.
The best chance for Tom Grice is if those four start battling each other on the final couple of laps. If they do that, they'll soon slow themselves down by up to half a second, and he'll be there. So it's worth pressing on for Tom. You never know. He still could get himself on the podium here. If it stays like this, I mean, he'll probably get to the back of them anyway, but he might not have time to try and attack. But John Stewart again glances down the inside, coming out of turn 1. He's got to be careful, though. If he's going to make a move, it has to be absolutely certain that he's going to get through, because should he run wide, should he have to get off the throttle to get out of the way of Piers Lehane, he'll have Berke Besler and Jane Ajar coming past him, and he'll be finding himself down in 4th place. At the end of the back straight, through the right-hander they go. 3.5 laps remain in this race. Piers Lehane leading the championship, having picked up the 34-point maximum from the pre-final victory. Can he get some more points and do what Jack McCarthy did in juniors and win everything and go into round 2 as the points leader? Well, John Stewart, he's pushing harder. If John Stewart gets past him and wins the race, because more points are available, because there's a bigger gap in points between first and second in the final than in the pre-final, it would actually be John that would pick up the overall points lead. But long way to go. Not so far left in this race, though, Matt. 3 laps remain. Lehane glances over his shoulder. He's controlling it, but he's not pulling away.
Nope, and it's just going for a lull at the minute. Although saying that, John Stewart tried for a move again down at turn 2, but we are just waiting for the fireworks to erupt here at Salisbury in France for this senior final. The top 4 make their way through the right-hander at turn 4. The gap's that time through 1/4 of a second between first and second, and Tom Grice hasn't managed to close that gap as of yet. In fact, it's gone out slightly there. It's now 2.1 seconds from first to fifth, although Tommy Pryning is taking Ed Brand with him to catch Tom Grice, so it could be a 3-way fight for the final top 5 position. Tommy and Ed go through the picture there, down towards the right-hander now at turn 7 for the leaders, and it's all starting to bunch up very nicely indeed. But Piers Lehane still the man in control here. Nothing is going to fold to him just yet. Through the chicane for another time. It's getting wary on now because it's a longer race than we've had so far this weekend, so they may just be feeling this slightly on the arms, on the legs as well, and the tyres and the carts may be feeling the pressure also. But Piers Lehane is doing an outstanding job so far. Across the line he goes with 2 now on the clock. Down towards turn 1. Berke Besler looking the closest this time, try and get onto John Stewart, but then John Stewart has a second burst of life, but there goes Berke Besler for second place. Down the inside line he pushes John Stewart wide, and here comes Jai Najar. He could have taken 2 places there, but he didn't take any in the end, but now he does at turn 4. Jai Najar goes through, and Berke Besler was getting a little bit frustrated of sitting behind the man in second, John Stewart. He went for the move, it didn't really pay off, drops down to 4th place, and now Tom Grice has caught up.
Yeah, Tom rubs his hands with glee here. That's exactly what he needed to get onto the tail of them. Jai Najar didn't think he was going to be able to get through there. It looked like an opportunity missed, but he forced his way through. I'm not going to miss this one, and he got through eventually at turn 4. But Besler with a big go there to get 2nd place. At the moment, he's put himself outside of the podium paying positions into 4th place and under pressure from Tom Grice, who runs into the back of him and out wide and off the circuit. Besler keeps going. Grice has got the engine running, but he's gone off and into the gravel trap. He rode up over the rear tyres of the Turkish driver into the gravel trap. He's dropped out of the top 10 now as the race leader, Piers Lehane, goes on to the final lap of the race. Stewart in 2nd place, Jai Najar 3rd, Besler in 4th, but he still hasn't shaken off some close attentions because he's got now Ed Brand and Tommy Pryning to deal with. Couldn't have too much more experienced, many quicker drivers to deal with, but Besler is going to have to really dig in here. So 1st, 2nd and 3rd look to be sorted. 4th place, anybody's guess here between the 3 of them. So it was a fairly kind of settled race, suddenly kicked off, and it was all triggered really the lap before that when Berke Besler bunched them all up, wasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly was. We were waiting for that moment, and Tom Grice going for a move there, but whether it was half a dozen of one and whatever else, but the move just didn't happen, unfortunately, for Tom Grice. And now Berke Besler is under immense pressure from both those behind. Tommy Pryning and Ed Brand head down towards turn 10, but it is going to be another dominant weekend for Piers Lehane. He comes through the final corner here at Salisbury, and the first senior win of the year does go to Piers Lehane. He's a happy Australian this weekend. 2nd then for his teammate John Stewart, and it's a strawberry race in 1, 2, 3 with Jai Najar coming home in 3rd place. In the end, Berke Besler did hold on for 4th. Ed Brand, last year's 3rd in the championship, comes home 5th. And what a drive from the youngster Tommy Pryning, moving up this year to the seniors, comes home in a well-deserved 6th place. 7th place then for Glenn Van Parijs. 8th place for Adrian Renadan. 9th place was Tom Grice after that move down the inside at turn 10, which didn't really work, unfortunately. He rode over the top of Berke Besler, managed to get back in the race, which was quite good because it looked like there was damage to the kart as well. But Tom Grice holding on to 9th place.
Yeah, shout out for Brett Ward as well. He did really well to come from 30th on the grid. He wasn't too far away from the top 10 in the end. I think he finished in about 13th place. So shortchanged really this weekend in terms of what he should have been getting because he had the performance, that's for sure, to be up there fighting at the front of the field. But those are the ones that got through. Adrian Renaudin with a good drive through to 8th place. The Frenchman Nicolas Picot made up lots of progress as well, up to 12th place for the French driver. But it's the Australian that wins, and again, Strawberry, a 1, 2, 3 for them, Matt.
They certainly are. There's Brett Ward then. He's made a best job of a bad weekend, really. 13th place for him. Sam Marsh then comes home in 14th for Dan Holland Racing, and Maurizio van der Laan rounds out your top 15. Harry Webb, a disappointing weekend in 22nd, not getting to grips with that CRG Spa car as of yet, but as the season goes on, hopefully he'll improve. Further down, the likes of Max Timmermans, who started the weekend with the heats yesterday very well with 2, comes home in 26th place, just ahead of Mike Bartels. Leonard Hugenboom, Ante Johansson and Petri Bazell round out your top 30, and there's non-finishes for Michael Cool, Jake Craig and Oliver Askew as well. All those 2 Americans down towards the back, not really getting to the hang of what happened there. There are your championship positions as of the pre-final from earlier on, but of course we know Pierce Lahane will be the man who heads away from Sauber here in France as our championship leader. He's taken the winning pre-final, he's taken the winning final as well, and that gives him the most points possible, 89 for Strawberry Racing. Then John Stewart, after 2 good results, in 2nd on the championship table, 85 points for him, and 4 points adrift is Berke Besler after a very impressive weekend for Bouvan Power. Ed Brand is then in 4th place and Jean Najar 5th with 78 points, and it's very close in the mid-pack with Tommy Pryning 6th, Shane Daly in 7th, and Adrian Renaudin, the Frenchman, in 8th place for Kart Pro Racing, 70 points for him. He's done well, and now take those points over to round 2, which is in a month or so's time at the Castelletto circuit in Italy.